Breaking right now at 8 o'clock, we are waiting on confirmation from the Hancock County Sheriff's Office, but we do believe an officer has died involved in a crash on I-75 South in Bluffton. This is the processional video from just a short while ago. You can see state troopers saluting the ambulance as it drives away.
So this incident happened around 1:30 this morning, shutting down both sides of I-75 in Bluffton. Right now, an area-wide manhunt is underway for 3 people. We want to get out to our Ariel Onstott right now, who's been following this from the very beginning. Ariel, what are you learning this morning? Anything new at this point?
Well, Tiffany, Tim, at this point, we are waiting to learn more information about the officer who was likely involved in this tragedy earlier this morning. And I cannot overstate enough how busy the area of State Route 103 and I-75 is, that entire area near Bluffton. I've seen at least 30 police cars, Lima, Hancock County Sheriff's Office, as well as state troopers driving around. Just minutes ago, we saw them deploying canines to search a yard and look around a barn and a house. So this is something that officers are actively looking for those 3 suspects after that crash on I-75 this morning. Now, we are making our way towards the coroner's office. We are here along I-75 where the road is still closed and they are working to reopen the interstate. So this is just a situation this morning where if you have business in the area of Hancock County here near the Allen County line, you'll want to avoid it. It's very windy out here, so as I go work to find out more information, for now I'm going to send it over to Stephen Jackson so he can tell you how to get around this. Stephen.
So this is what we're seeing out there this morning. You'll just need to avoid this area because giving detours, so many roads are closed. So I'll just specify what we know this morning. 75 southbound, this is between State Route 103 and State Route 235 is closed. Also, northbound lanes are now closed through that area this morning. So if you live in Hancock County and you're traveling to Bluffton trying to get to Lima this morning, you'll have to find another route or even call your employer because many are getting phone calls this morning that they shouldn't show up to work just due to the severity of this situation. We do know Bluffton University students' class has been canceled as the campus is on lockdown because of this morning. That's a look at your Contrada Law Firm Traffic Tracker.
All right, just after 8 a.m., let's get the latest on your forecast for this morning as temperatures have now begun their downward spiral, expecting them to settle somewhere in the 30s by late this evening. Right now, reporting 56 in Toledo. It's mild off to the east. The cold air hasn't reached there just yet. Along I-75, we're in the 50s, but off to the west, the 40s are now moving in, and I expect wind chills to be down in the 30s within a matter of 2 to 3 hours, most likely here in Toledo. Still got some scattered showers. Upper Sandusky, Tiffin, Fremont, Sandusky. This is the last wave of the heaviest rainfall coming through. Still got some light showers back off to the west. That could still spell a little bit of a wet period for the second half of today. But you plan out your afternoon. There you see temperatures back down in the 40s. West wind still at about 15 miles per hour. We're going to take a look into the weekend forecast coming up here in just a matter of moments.
Well, today, this man, 21-year-old Antonio Scott Jr., is set to face a judge. He's charged with murder in the shooting death of a transgender woman that happened 5 years ago. That shooting happened in February of 2017. Officers found JoJo Stryker at a vacant garage on Austin Street in North Toledo. She was pronounced dead at the scene. TPD says DNA evidence is what led to the arrest of Scott.
Well, the family of Jamisha Taylor is speaking publicly through a spokesperson, saying someone should be held responsible for her death. Taylor was found unconscious in her cell inside the Lucas County Jail Friday and later died. Now, this family spokesperson says that they are still grieving and coping with the loss. From what's known about Jamisha's story, he says something needs to be done.
Somebody is at fault about what happened to her.
Well, the coroner has not released any autopsy results showing how Taylor died. She was on a waiting list to get into the Northwest Ohio Psychiatric Hospital. Taylor was facing attempted murder charges, accused of stabbing her children.
Well, Russian forces are resuming their attacks around Ukraine's capital of Kyiv, violating their own promises for a reprieve in attacks. This as President Biden and Ukrainian officials are asking for more aid to be sent to the war-torn country, on top of more than $500 million already sent. Administration officials briefed members of Congress yesterday on the latest developments where there are bipartisan concerns.
I came out of there very frustrated. We're 5 weeks into this thing, and it seems like nothing changes. Every briefing's the same.
But I still have very strong reservations about whether we're doing enough and doing it quickly enough.
Virtual peace talks are set to resume tomorrow between Ukraine and Russia.
Well, the United Nations says 4 million people have escaped Ukraine since Russia's invasion began, with more than 2 million going to Poland. However, one Ukrainian couple has found sanctuary here in the Glass City. They left Ukraine about a month ago, saying they found Toledo by chance. They've been able to find housing, but they need jobs, money, and a car, and so much more. But they are thankful for how everyone has been welcoming.
Our situation like a coin with two sides. The one side, it's a disaster in Ukraine, the war in Ukraine. And the other side is a great opportunity to meet all these people, to feel their support.
Well, the couple says eventually they want to go back to Ukraine because their kids are still in Kyiv, but they don't know when that's going to happen or what the country will look like.
In a push for more skilled jobs here in Ohio, the governor's office announced the first full week of May will be In-Demand Jobs Week. For the 5th year, organizations and industries around the state will hold hiring events for students and adults looking for a career that doesn't involve going to college. Lieutenant Governor John Husted says it's a way to make the state more competitive.
When people are making a good living, they can take care of themselves, their family, live their version of the American dream. And businesses more and more will want to call Ohio home because they can find access to the talent they need to compete with anybody in the world. This is about making Ohio strong and vibrant.
All of the jobs start at a beginning pay of $50,000 a year. To learn more, you can head to the WTOL section of Fox36.com.
Congress is taking a big step to help Americans boost their retirement savings. The House passed the Securing a Strong Retirement Act, which includes reforms such as expanding auto enrollment for savings and assistance for student loan debt. So it will also increase the minimum age limit to 75 to begin taking money from tax-deferred accounts. The bill now moves to the Senate. Well, how soon after payday is your money gone? In a salary finance survey, 20% of Americans say they run out of their money between paychecks. That's up 15% from last year. Meeting daily expenses is harder for 1/4 of workers, and 1/3 say they are unable to build savings. 75% say inflation is impacting their finances. Lower earners spend a large portion of their money on transportation, food, and energy.
All right, still got a few showers showing up on radar this morning. Coming up next, we're going to talk about colder air that's rushing in. We'll talk about it right after this.
Well, hundreds of people let out of a Texas jail, all because of a technology issue. Coming up, what happened that led to this massive release? We are following breaking news here at 8:30. A somber morning. We've seen ceremonial activities that often happen when an officer dies. Now, we're talking about an incident that happened on I-75 South in Bluffton. You saw that salute. We've seen a processional. Now, we are waiting on confirmation from the Hancock County Sheriff's Office. Now, right now, we want to get out to our Ariel Onstadt this morning. She is following the very latest when it comes to this manhunt and what we've learned. We know that they are looking for about 3 people, 3 men that were involved in this incident around 1:30 this morning. Ariel Onstadt, she's been following this. Ariel, what can you tell us this morning?
Tiffany, right now that manhunt is underway. I just came from the area of State Route 103 and State Route 235 there near Bluffton. And let me tell you, it is a very active scene as law enforcement looks for those 3 suspects. I saw canines, a helicopter was staged, as well as multiple law enforcement vehicles searching the area. And it's all because of a crash this morning that we believe a police officer may have been involved in and thus killed. And I say that because we saw a procession processional, as you see, leading that officer away from the crash in an ambulance, we believe, because lots of law enforcement, 20 to 30, stood at attention saluting that ambulance as it drove past, and the processional of law enforcement vehicles followed soon after. We did see video of them making their way north through Hancock County into Lucas County. We're continuing to work to find out more information for you at this time as to the condition of the officer, what we know about who that officer worked for, and more details from police at this hour. It is very windy out here in Hancock County, as you can hear, so right now I'm going to send it over to Stephen Jackson so he can let you know more about the roads in this area, how to avoid it, because it is such an active situation. Stephen.
Ariel, thanks so much. So what we're looking at this morning, this is down in Bluffton. This is an overhead view of the situation there. You can see troopers still out on scene. That car looks like was one that was involved in this issue. Not sure about that semi there, but we can see some of those cones that are out there this morning. North and southbound lanes are closed. I-75, this is right at State Route 103. So 75 at State Route 103 to State Route 235 remains closed this morning. Police are still searching for those 3 suspects, so please avoid that area this morning. That's a look at your Contrada Law Firm Traffic Tracker.
Right now, just after 8:30, your forecast for today continues to watch as temperatures plummet across northwest Ohio from a high near 70 degrees at midnight this morning in the Toledo metro. We're back down 14 degrees now, 56 in Toledo, and now we've dropped another degree in Bryan down to 44. So I think as we continue to go through this morning, those temperatures are quickly going to drop down into the 40s. Be prepared. You'd need the jacket for today, not only to combat the wind and a few showers, but also those dropping temperatures. Band of rain from Sandusky, Norwalk, down just east of Upper Sandusky, but right now in the Toledo metro, looking pretty okay for us. Windy, 40s this afternoon. We'll talk about more into the weekend forecast coming up here in just a matter of minutes.
Ryan, thanks. Well, another deadline is set for Ohio's Redistricting Commission. Commissioners now have until Monday to explain why they shouldn't be held in contempt of court. This is all in regards to Republican Commission members abandoning bipartisan efforts to draw new legislative maps. They instead approved a slightly modified version of the 3rd set of maps, which was already submitted and rejected by the Ohio Supreme Court. Right now, the May 3rd primary will still happen, but without legislative races.
Well, computer chips are a critical component in powering countless objects, cell phones, computers, washing machines, and of course, cars. Well, with the worker shortage and the supply shortage caused because of the pandemic, fewer chips are being made. But simply ramping up production isn't easy because the process to make them is pretty extensive, consisting of thousands of steps in at least 90 days. Now, within the last 20 years, U.S. manufacturing declined, creating a dependence on foreign-made parts.
Used to be in the 90s that the U.S. manufactured 37% of the world's chips. Today it's down to 12%.
Well, that could soon change. The House is currently reviewing a Senate-approved bill that would invest $52 billion in manufacturing these parts here in the U.S. Semiconductor company Intel is also investing more than $20 billion to build 2 new factories right here in Ohio. They're expected to start producing those chips by 2025.
Well, today the city of Toledo will kick off a marathon season where they will announce new partnerships leading this year's Mercy Health Glass City Marathon. We expect Mayor Wade Kapsykavich, as well as health leaders and several community representatives, to meet this morning at 10 o'clock at Glass City Metro Park. The Mercy Health Glass City Marathon is coming up on April 24th. And also today there will be an unveiling of artwork at the new Glass City Center. The Lucas County Commissioners will join the Arts Commission to announce a new public art installation planned for a future display in that center as part of the convention center's renovations. We will have more from the announcement happening at 11 today on air and on our free news app.
Well, Easter chocolate cookie kits are being pulled from Walmart shelves because of allergy concerns. Wilton Industries chocolate cookie bunny hutch kit may pose an allergy risk. The label is not marked with contains milk. So the ingredients list does include skim milk powder, but no other note of the dairy ingredient is listed as required. Customers who have a milk allergy are urged to not consume the product.
A group of private equity investors is buying media ratings giant Nielsen for $16 billion. The deal announced this week will include Nielsen's debt and comes after it rejected a smaller offer earlier this month. If the agreement goes through, it will likely close in the second half of the year.
82% of car buyers paid above sticker price in January compared to a year ago. Across all makes, new car buyers paid on average $728 above the manufacturer's suggested retail price. The average price was roughly $45,000. Some of the highest makes on markups are Kia, Honda, Toyota, and GMC.
President Biden is preparing to tap into the oil from the nation's reserve in order to curb these rising gas prices we're all feeling. The president reportedly is getting ready to release 1 million barrels of oil per day over the next course of several months, up to 180 million barrels. An official announcement from the president could come as early as today. Corn could be the answer to offset high energy prices. A bipartisan group of senators from the Midwest is pushing for more ethanol use with the Homefront Energy Independence Act, which incorporates ears of corn and ethanol production. They are proposing to make the fuel year-round rather than just seasonal. E15 fuel is about 10 cents a gallon less at the pump than regular unleaded gas.
All right, so you can see on radar this morning, we still have a few showers that are working on through. We've got to get through some wind and a temperature drop to get through today. Stephen?
And I'm continuing to follow that breaking news out of Bluffton this morning. 75 is closed in both directions. I'll have an update for you straight ahead.